The world does not reward those who are virtuous. It favors those who are shrewd and punishes the naive. From a young age, men are taught that morality is a form of strength. But in reality, morality without the means to uphold it is nothing more than fragility. A man who tries to succeed purely through integrity will be devoured by those who manipulate, deceive, and strike from the shadows. There is a comforting lie many choose to believe, that goodness, justice, and honor will prevail simply because they are right. This idea has been passed down through doctrines designed to keep the powerless submissive and the powerful restrained. But in the real world, where power is fought over, where empires collapse and rise again, virtue without force is just a faint voice drowned out by the noise of ambition and aggression. Think of the man who always acts with honesty, keeps his promises, and shows compassion even to his enemies. While such a man may be praised and respected, that admiration lasts only as long as he serves a purpose. When circumstances shift, he is the first to be abandoned, betrayed, or eliminated. His integrity turns into a weakness. His principles become limitations, and what once made him admirable now marks him for destruction in the eyes of those who feel no guilt. A man who lives by noble ideals, but lacks either the strength or the determination to defend them is not a leader, he is prey. His values carry no weight if he is unable to protect them. The world does not bend to good intentions, it yields only to power. Only through strength, whether physical, strategic, or political, can moral values be preserved, enforced, or given meaning. The rules that govern society are not born from a sense of goodness. They stem from fear, fear of consequences, fear of chaos, fear of retaliation. Strip away the force behind the law, and it becomes meaningless. In the same way, a man's noble ideals hold no weight if he lacks the strength to act in their defense. A man who values honesty but lacks the resolve to confront deceit will be buried under lies, and one who cherishes loyalty but cannot inspire respect will find himself surrounded by betrayal. History is filled with the ruins of men who believed that righteousness alone would shield them. Emperors overthrown, thinkers silenced, reformers slain, all convinced that truth would triumph by its own virtue. They thought their moral purity would be their armor, but purity without power is just exposure. In a world where deception is a tactic and violence is a language, purity is not safety, it is a gamble. True strength lies not in simply possessing virtue, but in having the power to defend and uphold it. A merciful leader must also be feared, or his compassion will be mistaken for frailty. A just ruler must be capable of swift and decisive action, or justice itself will be corrupted and dismissed. Power does not ruin virtue. Rather, it is the channel through which virtue gains impact. The claim that good men have no need for power is false. If they truly want to shape the world, they must not only seek power, they must claim it, command it, and be ready to use it if they must. A sword that never leaves its sheath is no weapon. It is an ornament, and virtue that is never enforced is not virtue at all. It is fear hiding behind principle. A man may live with integrity, but without the ability to command fear, he is never secure. He may speak truthfully, but if he cannot see through deception, he will always be manipulated. He may be compassionate, but without firm limits, his kindness will be drained and used against him. Wolves care nothing for the values of sheep, only that they bleat instead of bite. There is a reason why true power is rarely held by saints, because sainthood and power often clash. One must either choose one to perfect or learn to balance both as needed. The ideal man is not the one who turns away from strength in pursuit of moral purity. He is the one who learns to master strength in order to protect what is right. But to do that, he must first abandon the comforting lie that virtue is all that's required. The world does not function on ideals. It runs on pressure, control, and action. No amount of goodness will stop betrayal. Only preparation, awareness, and sometimes the readiness to strike first can do that. This is not cynicism. It is clarity, the kind that moral men often reject until they are left vulnerable, begging for mercy from those who never even pretended to be just. In the reality of survival, the appearance of goodness is often more useful than the real thing. People judge by what they see, not by what they understand. They believe what flatters their own view of justice and fairness. A man who wears the look of integrity gains trust. A man who seems kind is welcomed. One who speaks wisely is followed. Yet behind that mask may lie a serpent, calculating and patient, waiting to strike. Appearing moral is a tactic. Being truly moral is a risk. The one who moves with pure intentions opens himself to manipulation, because the world rarely returns the favor. People project their own ethics onto others, mistaking a smile for sincerity simply because it's what they want to believe. This is exactly why those skilled in deception have power. They wrap cold ambition in warmth, cloak cruelty in politeness, and hide betrayal behind comforting words. And society celebrates them for it. Power, influence, and survival often require not open lies, but careful disguise. You do not win a war by revealing your strategy. You do not secure loyalty by voicing your uncertainty. And you certainly do not hold on to your throne by exposing your fears. In a world ruled by appearances, perception is everything, and those who learn to shape it control the game. You must know when to appear generous while quietly weighing the benefit, when to seem forgiving while preparing your next move. The more genuine you look, the easier it becomes to influence those around you. People want to believe in noble leaders, in figures who stand for justice and virtue, so give them what they crave. Maintain the illusion. Let others handle the unpleasant tasks while your hands remain clean in the public eye. Present yourself as moral, but keep the option to discard that morality the moment it no longer benefits you. What matters is not being consistent in private, only that the image you show in public never wavers. Hypocrisy only becomes a flaw when exposed. Until then, it's a tactic. Even the harshest leaders in history understood this. They masked their brutality as necessity, their hunger for power as service to the people. The crowd rarely rises against a leader who feeds them comforting stories. They revolt when truth is delivered too soon, too raw. Illusion calms the masses. Reality unsettles them. So the wise man lets them sleep peacefully while he reshapes reality to his will. There is no virtue in being transparent when your enemies are watching. If you make your goals obvious, they will be blocked. If you show where you are weak, you will be tested. If you let your fears show, they will be used against you. So cloak your intentions in words that sound noble. Say you seek peace while preparing for conflict. Say you aim for unity while removing threats to your control. Say you forgive while calculating how to dismantle your rivals. Give them comfort, let them grow careless, and then strike. A reputation for honesty is more powerful than honesty itself. Once people think you are above deceit, they stop looking for it. That is when your true power begins to grow. You can influence without resistance, crush opponents while being praised for fairness, and manipulate events while being seen as virtuous. A man who thinks you're righteous will never expect your blade until it's already too late. Those who condemn deception are often the easiest to mislead because they expect the world to follow moral rules it never agreed to. Power is not tied to ethics, it is tied to what works. If lying protects your position, lie. If kindness weakens your stance, abandon it. If betrayal secures your future, then betray, but do it with care, hidden behind a curtain of principle. Let the world think you're honorable as you build your empire, step by calculated step. This isn't chaos, it's strategy with discipline. A man must know when to keep quiet, when to make a move, when to show remorse, when to fake it. He must learn the behaviors of virtuous men so he can copy them with precision, smile like a good man, speak like the wise, give like the generous. But never lose sight of the fact that these are performances. The moment you believe your own act, you lose the edge. The mask must stay separate from your true face. The mask is your shield. The face is your weapon. The man who endures is the one who can wear both without ever confusing them. The man who plays by the rules will always be controlled by the one who doesn't. It's a harsh truth that offends the idealist, but empowers the realist. Those who refuse to bend the rules will always be at the mercy of those who create, twist, or break them. History is never shaped by the hands of the innocent, but by the calculated force of those who understood what needed to be done and carried it out without remorse. There's a common fantasy among honest men, that integrity will earn them favor, that by staying untainted in a corrupted world, they'll draw allies, avoid betrayal, and eventually succeed. But life isn't written in verses. It's forged in ambition, treachery, and sharp decisions. The honest man waits for the world to reward him. The ruthless one seizes it. One is a leaf in the wind, the other commands the storm. The ruthless player does not rely on chance. He creates the outcome through manipulation, through foresight, through carefully chosen cruelty. He understands one simple truth: power is never handed over, it is taken. Power is taken, always by those ready to do what others shy away from. He isn't limited by moral doubts, only by the results he seeks. If lying strengthens his position, he lies. If betrayal advances his cause, he betrays. He doesn't cry for fairness. Instead, he takes advantage of those naive enough to believe in it. The man who clings to honesty becomes a pawn, even when he believes himself above the fray. His refusal to deceive makes him predictable. His resistance to strike back makes him weak, and his faith in justice slows him down. While he's lost in thought, weighing what's right, his opponent acts swiftly, focused only on what works. The ending is always the same. The virtuous man watches his own collapse, puzzled that integrity brought him no reward. To influence fate, one must be willing to disrupt it. Luck doesn't side with the passive. It favors those who are daring, strategic, and relentless. Those who wait for the perfect moment are always overtaken by those who create it. Destiny isn't handed out, it's fought for, and the weapons of that struggle aren't honesty or humility, but manipulation, force, and control. The one who plays dirty knows that perception is a tool. He may wear a friendly smile while laying traps, speak of unity while sowing discord, or preach peace while plotting domination. Contradiction doesn't scare him, because he understands that power isn't built on consistency, but on results. The world rarely remembers the means when the outcome is glorious. Only the defeated are scorned for how they played. His moves aren't random, they're calculated. He observes, waits, targets weaknesses, and strikes with precision. He knows when to hold back and when to act. Sometimes slow treachery outmatches a quick betrayal, and letting an opponent think they're winning is the perfect way to lower their guard. He keeps emotion out of the equation. He doesn't act out of rage or self-righteousness, only when it serves a purpose. In contrast, the honest man reacts instead of leads. He's always one step behind, always adapting, always enduring, but never dominating. He insists on playing fair in a game that rewards the cunning. And because he won't evolve, the world shapes him, not the other way around. He becomes the casualty of his own rigidity, a victim of a game he never dared to truly engage in. To master fate, one must learn its true language, and that language isn't virtue, it's power. Power belongs to those who claim it without apology. The one who's willing to seem wicked in pursuit of victory will always defeat the one who loses while trying to look good. There's no honor in failure, no dignity in defeat. History doesn't ask if the winner played fair, it only remembers that he won. The ruthless player shapes tomorrow because he isn't afraid to get his hands dirty today. He isn't fooled by moral fantasies. He knows people aren't guided by what's right, but by what's effective. Loyalty can be purchased, affection can be faked, fear can be weaponized, and trust can be broken the moment it stops being useful. He doesn't mourn these truths, he uses them. Understanding the world's corruption is pointless unless you're willing to act on that knowledge. The throne doesn't belong to the one who begs for justice. It goes to the one who takes it when no one else dares. Believing that fairness rules the world is to live in a comforting illusion, a story crafted by the weak to explain their submission to the strong. The world has never been fair. It doesn't reward those who obey the rules. It rewards those who know when to bend or break them. Being ruthless isn't wickedness, it's clarity. It's knowing how the game is truly played. Fairness is a public ideal, often preached in churches, homes, and governments, but conveniently forgotten in boardrooms, on battlefields, and in the corridors of real power. Those who shout loudest about fairness are usually the first to discard it when the odds shift. They demand rules only when the rules serve them. They invoke justice only when they're losing. But when they see an opening, a weakness in their rival's armor, they strike without pause. And if you hesitate, if you think your refusal to be cruel will earn you respect, you'll find yourself kneeling before those who abandoned that illusion long before you. Ruthlessness is a form of clear-sightedness, the capacity to act without being frozen by moral concerns, to prioritize what works over what sounds noble, to do what is necessary rather than what seems proper. The victor is rarely the fairest. He is the one most ready to push boundaries, to offend, to punish, even to destroy. And he carries no guilt for it, because guilt does not win power. Compassion doesn't hold empires, and courtesy doesn't protect authority. Only strength does. And true strength is the ability to act without needing society's permission. Those who rise and stay in power, who dictate rather than obey, are not men bound by ideals of justice. They are the ones who understand that power is never handed over, it must be asserted. The world isn't shaped by what is just, but by who is bold enough to take control. They study those who stand in their way, take advantage of weakness, strike before the threat grows, remove obstacles with precision and calm, then speak of peace and virtue as if these were the reasons for their success. But behind the polished words lie tactics, fear, and force. A man who insists on fairness in a world that is not fair becomes predictable, and predictability is dangerous. If people know you'll never lie, never retaliate, never manipulate, they can maneuver around you with ease. Knowing your own values hold you captive. In that way, fairness becomes the chain that binds you, while those unburdened by such beliefs seize the very power you hesitate to touch. They'll smile at your decency while carving out your future to serve their own. Even when the ruthless are condemned publicly, they are respected privately, and respect is no match for fear. A man who is feared is obeyed, while a man merely respected is doubted, challenged, and tested. Fear brings resolution. It creates order. The ruthless don't ask for loyalty, they demand it, and they receive it because disobedience carries a price. This is the way of nature, of politics, of real influence. The lion doesn't plead for followers, it enforces submission. Fairness has never built a kingdom because fairness lacks the bite to defend one. It does not move first, it waits, hoping for mercy. But power doesn't answer hope, it answers leverage. And ruthlessness is leverage, not reckless cruelty, but deliberate and calculated force. A surgeon cuts to heal, a commander kills to restore peace. A ruler removes a threat not for justice, but for necessity. Fairness would have let danger linger. Ruthlessness eliminates it at its root. The one in command must be willing to do what others find unthinkable, to act when others pause, to punish where others would pardon, to strike before the moment passes. And though the world may whisper of his harshness, it will eventually submit, because people follow strength, not softness. Fairness may draw praise, but praise doesn't secure power. Applause fades, fear remains, and it is fear that sustains order when words no longer matter, when treaties are broken, when trust collapses. Living by fairness alone is handing over your fate to those who feel no such obligation. It is risking your place in the world, on the hope that others will value what you value. Follow the same principles, abide by the same limits, but they won't. They never have, and they never will. The ruthless man accepts this, he plans for it, he anticipates betrayal, rivalry, and ambition. And he meets them not with pleading, but with swift, calculated response. Where others seek fairness, he sees a chance to dominate. And once he has, he reshapes the rules to his own benefit. In every form of society, whether primitive or sophisticated, the pattern is always the same. Those who embrace manipulation, cunning, and strategic severity rule over those who do not. The unwilling become tools. Their ethics, their hesitation, their discomfort with aggression become the very materials through which they are dominated. The man who insists on staying clean in a game built on filth doesn't declare strength. He admits he's unprepared. It is an unspoken concession that he lacks the qualities required for the true struggle. He wants to survive in a world of predators while clinging to the beliefs of prey. But power isn't built on ideals. It's built on decisions, often harsh, always intentional. The world is not governed by thinkers lost in philosophy, but by those who recognize what needs to be done and do it without faltering when the moment demands action over virtue. Those who avoid playing rough often believe they are morally superior, but that belief is hollow when it offers no control. Being good in a world driven by dominance earns admiration, but admiration is a weak currency. It gets you applause, not authority, compliments, not compliance. And while the crowds may cheer your honor, they will ultimately bow to the one who knows how to instill fear, to divide strategically, and to command not through persuasion, but through sheer pressure. The corrupt game doesn't shield you, it exposes you. It reveals that you won't retaliate, that you won't deceive, that you won't strike when struck, and that awareness makes you an easy target. You'll be exploited for your loyalty, your honesty, your emotional openness. The one who holds power over you doesn't need to destroy you. He only needs to keep you occupied with ideals like fairness and fidelity, while he strengthens his hold. He'll commend your character, maybe even reward your obedience, all while making sure you never rise high enough to pose a real threat. Those who ascend understand that morality is adaptable when seen from the top. They don't throw away ethics, they reshape them, using the language of integrity to soothe their followers, demanding loyalty under the banner of unity, preaching responsibility while shielding themselves from all accountability. Meanwhile, those who avoid the dirty game continue to buy into these illusions, failing to realize they are merely pawns, manipulated by someone who understands their patterns their reactions, and just how little danger they actually pose. It isn't the honest man who creates the rules. It's the shrewd one. And once the rules are set, the honest man becomes the enforcer of a system he never truly grasped. He becomes the devoted soldier, the compliant worker, the naive counselor, believing he defends justice, when in fact he's upholding a structure designed to serve the tactician, not the servant. He upholds the very limits that keep him confined. When you refuse to play rough, you forfeit the power of unpredictability. You become readable, exposed, restrained. Your intentions can be mapped, your actions forecast, and your presence ceases to be a threat to those above. Those who do play dirty exploit this, allowing you to speak, to protest, to argue, so long as you never gain the leverage to act decisively. And when you finally become an obstacle, they'll eliminate you cleanly, because they've already undermined your influence, tarnished your image, or replaced you with someone more controllable. Power responds to pressure, not to please. It bends to force, not to principle. To lead others, you must be ready to apply pressure, whether subtle or aggressive, social or psychological, and if you won't, someone else inevitably will. This is how control operates. This is the blueprint of dominance. It isn't offered, it's seized. Those who are afraid to wield control will always live beneath it, never above it. Avoiding the dirty game is choosing to walk into a battle unarmed, while others come armed with every tool and no hesitation to use them. And you call that strength. You call that morality. But it's really blindness masked as virtue. Those who rise do not reject the dark path. They master it with care, with silence, with strategy. And by doing so, they govern those who can't even face its existence. Those who claim to be outside the game are already in it. They are being guided, shaped, and handed choices and loyalties by those who saw long ago that power doesn't respond to innocence. It answers to design. The one who designs holds control. The manipulator leads the genuine. The strategist commands the believer. So the one who refuses to play dirty isn't just governed by another man, but by that man's ambitions, plans, and unspoken intent, without ever realizing his life is being orchestrated by an invisible force. To survive in a world driven by illusion, manipulation, and quiet battles for dominance, one must let go of the myth that goodness alone is enough. The real game, life itself, is not won by those who follow the rules, but by those who know when to bend them, break them, or write new ones entirely. Playing dirty isn't about cruelty, it's about clarity, about recognizing that men are moved by self-interest, not virtue, that systems are upheld by pressure, not fairness, that history records the conqueror, not the blameless. Those who dive into the darker aspects of power don't do it out of love for harm, but for a deep desire to control outcomes. They don't advertise their plans, they act while others speak. And in their quiet execution, they shape the reality around them. They grasp what the cautious never do. In every gathering, someone is in control. And if it isn't you, then it's the one who dared to do what you would not. You can choose honor, you can choose sincerity, you can play fair. But don't expect to rule. Don't expect to steer the course of events. And don't expect freedom, because power does not answer to virtue. It only yields to those who take it.